We are back with Dan Glomski from the Edgerton Explorit Center in Aurora, talking Super Science Saturday. This Saturday, it is going to be butterfly tagging. Is this something that I can do? I know Shelby can do it, but can I handle something like this? Yes, right.
Isn't the key you don't touch the wings? Isn't that bad for them?
Actually, we're going to touch the wings.
There we go. So it is okay.
These are surprisingly tough creatures here.
Okay.
I mean, no, they look very delicate, but they're not too terribly bad. You know, a few precautions and you're fine. So here I have a female monarch, and yes, you can tell the difference between boys and girls.
Okay.
This is one that I hand raised. My wife and I have raised about 50 of these inside this season to help bolster their numbers, and we're not the only folks doing this. So here's a female monarch here, and what we're going to do is to try to tag it.
Okay, just with stickers. These are just adhesive stickers.
Exactly, yes. And these come from the University of Kansas, their Monarch Watch program. They're the folks who issue the tags and monitor the butterflies. And it's neat if one of these is found down in Mexico, they send you a little certificate where you can print one out on the internet that lets you know that your butterfly was recovered down in Mexico. I have had 2 returned. So let's give it a shot. And I've got the net with me.
There are people out there sort of looking, catching, and then trying to monitor the travels of them.
Exactly, because again, it's a mystery as to how they make it down there. All right, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take a sticker off.
Okay.
And these are, again, very, very small. And fortunately, I think our young lady here is still fairly sleepy.
Okay. We've had a bird fly away on set before, hoping we don't now have a butterfly.
Look at, oh boy, you know how to work that.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can, I'm just going to hold her like this.
I don't trust myself on this. This is all you, Dan, right now going here.
Okay.
Boy, what a beautiful, beautiful creature there. And you went from every stage of larva and pupa and everything else with this?
Yep, actually probably started with an egg on this one. We look for eggs. So here I'm going to put the tag on a big mitten-shaped cell in back called the discal cell.
Discal cell,
Yeah, the fancy term here. And let's see if I can get her to step up on my finger here.
Wow.
So we can see the tag.
Right. Are you concerned that it will fly away at all?
Yes, I am. And I can tell she wants to.
Right, yeah.
So I don't want to be responsible
for
me.
Again,
so
I want to help the environment, not her. But there's the tag.
There's the
right
tag.
there. And then somebody would be taking a net, I guess, and just grabbing it as gentle as possible, and then noting the tag on there?
Right, exactly. I'll mark down the tag number. These tags all have a specific code on them. It's individual to each tag. And so if one of these is recovered, they'll have the records as to where this one was tagged here at KHAS Studios in Hastings, Nebraska. And if this one is found, they'll report it to us.
Amazing.
I have a good feeling about this one. I think this one is going to make it.
Let's hope so. Okay.
So how many will you have Saturday? And you're going to trust people with these, or you're going to be sort of running that show a little bit?
I'm going to be kind of, I'll be there to help folks out. We will have some nets there for people to use. And how many we're going to have, that's a very good question. Travis was just talking about the unusually cool weather that we're going to have. That's going to hang the butterflies up. They don't like anything below 60 degrees in terms of flying. So we're not going to see 60 until perhaps Saturday. And so we won't see many of these until probably Saturday, and hopefully they'll be on the move then. We'll find out.
And the assumption is that they will be flying around the center possibly too, just outside, or you'll be bringing some in. How is this going to work then?
Well, we do have a butterfly garden on the center ground, so hopefully we can find a few. If not, there's some prairie restorations not too far away that we can go to where we found a few monarchs in the past.
And as you talk about the pollination, that's really, it's those gardens that help attract them, I guess, right?
Exactly. You know, these aren't terribly fussy eaters. They like goldenrod, our state flower, some of the native sunflowers, even zinnias, which aren't native to the area. Those are all very important fuel sources for the monarchs, and especially because actually they put on fat during the journey. That's remarkable. They've got to put on fat because there's not a whole lot for them to eat down in Mexico. So that's very, very important. If you have a spot, plant some flowers that will attract them. Milkweed is an extremely important plant. As a caterpillar, that's about the only thing that they will eat is milkweed. In fact, here's a monarch caterpillar right here.
And that will eventually turn into a monarch butterfly.
One of these, exactly. Now, in between the caterpillar stage and the adult stage, I do have a pupa here.
Oh, there it is.
So here is our...
And so that's in between. And you said it starts egg to caterpillar
to pupa to adult.
Butterfly.
Exactly.
And what's the lifespan on these things then?
You know, it depends on the generation. 4 monarch generations are produced every year. 3 of those will live about a month and a half or so from egg to adult. But this last generation, the generation that does the migration, will last as long as 9 months.
Wow.
They make the trip down, they spend the winter down in Mexico, and then they have to make the trip back to Texas at least to lay the eggs for the first generation of next year.
Amazing, amazing stuff. Quickly, I want to shift. You know everything about everything. That's what I love about you, Dan. We had a discussion on here about the moon earlier this week. Was that a harvest moon, and was it a super harvest moon?
You know, I hear the supermoon term, and I look at the full moon. It looks just as big and bright as any other full moon, because to me, it's always big and bright.
Right.
I have a hard time telling the difference between these so-called supermoons and those that are not. The names of the moons actually, and I always forget whether September's is the harvest moon or some other moon. Like December's full moon is the Yule moon. There's a whole list of names for
Travis
these.
is with you too there. We had that whole conversation.
I just found out it's either September or October, depending on which one is closer to the autumnal equinox.
I see.
So
There you go.
And I did see on the intraweb that the day after you asked was the last super moon.
Oh, all right.
of the
So we
year.
got some. All right.
Don't take that as fact, because that
Dan
was from the internet.
Glomski, the Edgerton Explorit Center Super Science Saturday. You want to be in Aurora for that on Saturday. Dan, thank you so much. We learned so much about butterflies. Stay with us. We're back with more News 5 Today right after this.